Hi guys! I wanted to talk about this idea of the busy mom. Just running around frazzled with like a chicken with her head cut off, and I guess the thing is that I fit that bill really, really well a lot of the time. Just like always never having enough bandwidth and never having enough brain space to just relax, calm down, and everybody tells you enjoy your kids, but it's just, oh my word, there's piles of laundry. And when I first started reading Charlotte Mason, I really loved a lot of the things that she had to say, but I don't feel like I was really getting it, because it seemed like, okay, well now you need to do nature study, and you need to do composer study and artist study, and you need to do habit formation, and here's all these things that you need to do for habit formation, and then here's all these things that you need to be thinking about for copy work and recitation, and you need to be adding this in and adding this in, and it just becomes such a burden. And I am so excited because as I'm reading Charlotte Mason with maybe a new perspective, she's not saying that at all. Actually, it's so refreshing because just over and over again she talks about how we are to let the children alone. We're just to be able to that beautiful masterly inactivity that she talks about. And also there's just a sort of a peace and a rest that we can have as mothers in raising our children, where we can just step back and enjoy them and even allow them to make some mistakes. It's okay. That's the training ground, the learning ground for them. And so I have so many just beautiful quotes from the reading I've been doing that have been really blessing me and inspiring me so much, and I wanted to pass those on to you. So I'm reading Home Education is the book that I'm the first book that I'm in right now. And she says, but we must not make a fetish of habit. Education is a life as well as a discipline. Health, strength, and agility, bright eyes, and alert movements come from a free life out of doors, if it may be. And as for habits, there is no habit or power so useful to man or woman as that of personal initiative. And so, and she's I'm gonna just go on in a second, but we don't allow our children, when we're always henpecking at them, we're always hemming them in, we're always saying, oh, we need to take care of this, I need to make sure you're doing some recitation. Even when they're just little children, we're after them and saying, okay, we need to make sure we do our counting today. When I had my first child, I was showing, like, this is like true confessions. I don't know, have you ever heard of these teach your baby to read? Yeah. I was the mom who was trying to teach her baby to read. I mean, what are we doing? Oh my goodness. But I've done it. I feel so bad for my oldest daughter because I needed to learn to just let her be, just leave her alone, give her a chance to take personal initiative. Oh my goodness, what a difference would it make if I just had stepped back and waited until she asked me, Mom, can you teach me how to read? I would really like to know how to do that. So then when it's coming from her, when it's coming from inside of her and the desire is there, then it's so easy because their full attention is on that. Then they are wanting to learn. They are there with you, and you are helping them. You become this guide, I think, and it's just a little tiny bit of guidance in one direction or the other. That's all we need to do, and we can just sit back and relax and allow them to go and explore and do and create. But I'm going to keep reading here because I really love what she has to say. The resourcefulness which will enable a family of children to invent their own games and occupations through a length of a summer's day is worth more in afterlife than a good deal of knowledge about cubes and hexagons, and this comes not of continual intervention on the mother's part, but of much masterly inactivity. So she's saying that then them being able to invent their own games, to go out and cooperate with each other and figure things out and say, well, why don't we make this rule, since we see that this is becoming a problem? You know, we continually throw the ball over that fence, so now we're going to make some different rules about the game. So now they, on their own, by having personal initiative, this is far more useful to them than all of the teachings that we can impose on them continually, because they're learning how to make their own decisions. They're learning how to learn for themselves. They're learning how to do all of these things that you need, and this is what's really going to serve them. And so when we let them alone and just let them play, let them explore, let them do the things that they are going to be inclined naturally to do as children, then that's what's going to be the greatest benefit to them as adults, when they have the ability to make decisions, the ability to think, okay, now I know what I need to do next. This is what I need to do, because they've had that practice. And that is it's on us to give them that space and that time to be able to do that. I love, this is just such a great passage. Now nature is her own mediator and undertakes herself to find work for the eyes and ears, taste and touch. She will prick the brain with problems and the heart with feelings. And the part of the mother or teacher in early years, indeed all through life, is to sow opportunities, and then to keep in the background, ready with a guiding or restraining hand only when these are badly wanted. I just love that so much, because nature, when they just are allowed to go and explore on their own, they're going to be pricked. Their minds are going to be pricked with problems, and their hearts are going to be and the heart pricked with feelings. So they're going to have all of these things that are stirring inside of them that we have no idea of what's actually going on within their minds and their hearts, and what they're thinking. And only very rarely do we actually get a glimpse into what is going on deep inside of them, because they don't always tell us. They don't believe that we will understand them. But I love this, that the part of the mother in the early years is to sow opportunities. So create for them an atmosphere or an environment where we have many things available for their disposal, making sure that they get lots of time to be outdoors, that they get time to come to church with us, that they get time, that there's lots of books, there can be books in our home, that there are interesting things for them to do. There's Play-Doh, there's boxes for them to build forts with, that maybe there's opportunities to interact with other children, and all of these things that we can sow opportunities, and then just allow them to have their free and fair game with all of the things. And all we need to do is put this in front of you, create this environment where you have this freedom to explore and to find out how to do those things where you have experience that personal initiative and do what you need to do. And the last little piece of this one that I'm going to read, it says, mothers shirk their work and put it, as they would say, into better hands than their own, because they do not recognize that wise letting alone is the chief thing asked of them. I just love that we don't have to be always chasing our kids around. The wise letting alone is the chief thing that is asked of us as mothers. Just let them alone. Just let them. And it's not this idea of like we still need to know what's going on. We need to know, okay, they're playing outside, but we still have an ear so that if we hear some crying, we can, we have to determine, well, is a restraining hand badly needed in this case, or can we give them the opportunity to work things out on their own, and maybe there's an opportunity for them to show kindness, and if we give them just that little bit of space and opportunity, then we might be very surprised at what comes from our children. And so we're just sowing those opportunities and then letting them alone, because we have in nature an all-sufficient handmaid who arranges for due work and rest of mind, muscles, and senses. And there's a couple other quotes that I wanted to share with you that are along the same lines, because it is such a relief as a mom to think, the main part of what I need to do is just let them alone, just relax and be relaxed myself, and give them an example of what kind of person I would like them to be, and that there's a certain amount of resting in that. It doesn't have to be this, I want my children to be thoughtful and calm and well rested and happy people, and so I can show them that I want to be an example of that, and give them plenty of space and be there for them when they do need some help and some guidance, or maybe even when they need someone to just be able to help them and say, that's not who you are. Let's go in this other direction that's more life-giving. I wanted to read this. The mother who is distrustful of her own power of steady effort may well take comfort in these two facts, and she's talking about habit training here. In the first place, the mother herself acquires the habit of training her children in habits, so that by and by it becomes not only no trouble, but a pleasure to her. So after a while, it becomes, the more that we train our children in habits, and it's not this idea where we sit down and we're saying, okay, we're gonna try practicing paying attention. No, that's not. We know what we'd like to see the child do, and then it's just a very gentle, with games or with just easy things. Like one of the examples she gives is to help a baby, train the baby in the habit of attention. We would just take the rattle and, oh look, and then just go, we just play, just a normal playing, and we give him a little bit of stimulation and then let it go, and then the next time just a little bit more, try and help him keep his attention on that rattle for a little bit longer until he grows in that power. Or maybe it's being able to catch a ball. The first, we just right there, put out your hand, and then we just almost set it there, and then just a little bit farther back, and then as time goes by, we can get farther and farther away, and then pretty soon it's just we're just playing games, having fun, tossing the ball back and forth, teaching them kindness. Here, do you want to help mama with the dishes? This can be super fun, and they can almost become our helpers, so that it's not so burdensome to do all these things around the house. But she says that, so it becomes a pleasure to us after a while, as we watch and see our children developing and growing and becoming helpful and kind and gaining all those things that we are wanting to instill into them. And then I love this so much. In the second place, the child's most fixed and dominant habits are those which the mother takes no pains about, but which the child picks up for himself through his close observation of all that is said and done, felt and thought in his home. And so this is again a nod to the idea of masterly inactivity. It's the atmosphere of our home. It's what's felt, said, and done in our home. It's what we create and the atmosphere that we create for our children that really helps them to the strongest habits that the best ones that they are going to have are not the ones that we're sort of picking at them to get, but they're the ones that they choose for themselves because they see, oh, mom really values reading, and she doesn't ever ask, she's not always after me to read, but we sit down and we read stories, and it's just a cozy, lovely time together, and we talk about books. And then so I want, they pick it of themselves. They choose these habits because of what is done, felt, and thought in the home, not because we've run after them, because we've, you need to read more, why aren't you reading your AR books, and why aren't you keeping up, why aren't you getting the points to win the reading competition at the library? We're not doing that. We are just enjoying reading. Mom enjoys reading, Dad enjoys reading. We snuggle on the couch and read books together. Sometimes we have a read aloud, and we all know the characters of The Wizard of Oz, and we talk about them at the supper table, and the baby will make rah like the cowardly lion, and everyone laughs together. And so then all of a sudden books become something that the child of his own decides, this is something that I want to value. So that's just one example, but we can also value other things, and then they of themselves, those are the habits that she says, the ones that we don't even try, take no pains about. Those are the ones that are the most deeply ingrained in the child. And this idea of letting them alone and just leaving them to nature. This is a really beautiful quote, and I think I'll end with this one. This quote says, "This is truly a delightful thing to watch. The mother reads her book or knits her sock, checking all attempts to make talk." So she's talking about taking your children out of doors, and you're out there picnicking and you're on a blanket, and so the mother is sitting there knitting her socks, checking her attempts to make talk. Okay, just be quiet, just leave the children alone, just knit your socks, don't be jabbering away. The child stares up into a tree or down into a flower, doing nothing, thinking of nothing, or leads a bird's life. The child is leading a bird's life among the branches, or capers about aimlessly in ecstasy. Quite foolish, irrational doings, but all the time a fashioning is going on. Nature is doing her part with the vow, "This child I to myself will take. She shall be mine, and I will make a lady of my own." So nature, we as parents, mothers, we can take some opportunities by just taking them outside, but we need to step back and allow nature, because we really are children too. We have grown-up bodies, but we still have that. In our hearts, there's still a child inside of us. We're still children of God, and we need to let nature have her part with us too. And so it's just good for us to step back and do the masterly inactivity that Charlotte talks about, and relax and enjoy our children, and not be worried about being behind, and just think, what do I really want for my children? What is the final goal? Is it really to check off all these boxes, which there's nothing wrong with boxes, but it's saying, okay, I'm just gonna step back, have masterly inactivity, allow my child room, time, and space to grow. And nature will take that child, and she will make of that child a little man or a little lady of her own. I hope that this has blessed you, and I will see you in the next video.